Welcome to the Jag Magnet Podcast. It is July 3rd, 2017. It's been a while, but here we go. July 1st just opened up, and actually, before July 1st, June 30th, came the big news. And you guys know what I'm talking about. It is Paul George to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And you're not going to believe this. For the Sabonis kid and Victor Oladipo. Now, see, this doesn't make any sense to anybody, especially Boston, Cleveland, even the Lakers. The Lakers offered a lot more than the Oklahoma City Thunder. Boston Celtics were rumored to give up, I think, 3 first-rounders and Jay Crowder for Paul George's services. Now, you're probably thinking, like, why the hell would Indiana Pacers give up that offer to go with the lame offer from the Oklahoma City Thunder? Well, it's pretty simple. Simple because if you're Indiana Pacers and you give up Paul George to an Eastern Conference contender, and even though Paul George claims that he wants to be a Laker as of July 1st, 2018, he's claiming that, and what if all of a sudden Paul George falls in love with Boston? So now if you're Indiana Pacers, you have to deal with the fact that Paul George, you'll be seeing him for the next 4 years, and because of that, you're going to have to deal with him, and there's no way Indiana's going to get to the finals if they have to see a big contender. So why would you add a phenomenal piece to an already existing phenomenal team? And that goes the same with Cleveland. I don't think Miami was involved, but you never know. So yeah, they threw him over to the Western Conference. And why didn't they give him up to the Lakers? Because out of their principle, they don't want to give him up to the Lakers because they already know that he's gonna go to the Lakers anyway, so they're kind of pissed about that. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Paul George is Oklahoma City Thunder with Russell Westbrook. I don't know how well that is going to be in terms of chemistry, because Russell Westbrook is always going to want the ball, and he's always going to want the last shot. So with Paul George, so at the end of the day, who gets the last shot? So these guys they want to be known as the clutch player. So both of those guys will do the exact same thing. So team chemistry, it's going to be hard to decide that factor. Speaking of the West, now every single person is gone to the West. So Chris Paul could have opted out. Instead, I guess you could say forced a trade. He forced a trade to the Houston Rockets, which is another Western Conference contender. So because of James Harden. Now James Harden's there, and basically what you're saying is you can compete with the Golden State Warriors, which I think is completely bogus. I just don't know how that chemistry is going to fit, because the thing is, you have James Harden, who always wants the ball. You have Chris Paul, who always wants the ball. And now you have all these guys from the West teaming up. Like, you're bringing over guys from the East because they just brought over PJ Tucker, which I think he's a phenomenal defensive player of the year. So Toronto Raptors got screwed. I will hold my my thoughts on Toronto Raptors in a bit. Okay, so Houston Rockets, they're looking to team up and they're looking to add more players. Rumor has it that they will trade for Carmelo Anthony because Carmelo Anthony is open to waiving his no trade clause only to teams like Houston and Cleveland. So I will open up that discussion in a bit too. I want to get to Minnesota. Minnesota pulled off a phenomenal trade on draft day when Jimmy Butler, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwayne Wade were playing spades. He found out he got traded. And I think this is the dumbest trade if you're a Chicago Bulls fan because you didn't get anything in value compared to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is a phenomenal two-way player, and you did not get crap for that guy. So, once again, Chicago Bulls dropped the ball on this one. They waived Rajon Rondo, and rumor has it that he's going to go to the Lakers. So, you just sent two guys over the Western Conference. And so the East is just getting weaker and weaker. Minnesota Timberwolves just also signed Taj Gibson. So Tibbs is looking to get his old guys back. So Minnesota got stronger. Golden State just re-signed their players. 40 mil for 5 years, 200 mil Supermax contract for Steph Curry, which I think is completely bogus because now if you're looking to keep your core in about 3 years, you'd be paying $200 million in luxury tax. I think it's stupid, but and this is a guy that claimed that he's not all about the money. Well, clearly he is. So you can't trust on people on that. So that's the Golden State Warriors. They signed Iggy for 48 mil for 3 years. So that's a lot of money. And now they have a mid-level exception for 5.2 mil. They're looking to sign Nick Young, which is awesome. I've always been a fan of Nick Young. He can shoot the ball, a little immature, getting better on defense. But if you stick him with the right pieces, he is going to be a legitimate contributor off the bench. We all know that he's not going to be a starter for them. So you have Golden State Warriors. San Antonio Spurs are just, I guess, their mouths dropped, their jaws dropped because now you have the Eastern Conference getting stronger and stronger. So you have Chris Paul one way, you have Jimmy Butler the other way. San Antonio hasn't done anything. They want to trade LaMarcus Aldridge, but still, it's kind of like nothing's happening. Dallas Mavericks, they haven't done anything. Sacramento Kings, they're actually trying, but nobody wants to go to Sacramento Kings. Lakers, they picked up Lonzo Ball. Good pickup, hopefully he's not a bust. They're clearing cap space because they traded D'Angelo Russell and Mozgov to the Nets to clear up cap space. I was never a big fan of D'Angelo Russell. Like, he could have been good, but he's just immature, snitching and whatnot kind of thing. And that's fine. You do your thing. Hopefully you will be mature one day. And you never know. Nets could be his thing for him to develop. So, yeah, the Lakers are just, they won't make the playoffs. Clippers lost on Chris Paul, but signed Blake Griffin to a max, 173 for 5 years. And rumor has it that they're going to sign Gallinari and Rudy Gay. And they just picked up Jerry West, so we'll see what happens on that note. I don't know. It's just the West keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So you have all these guys coming to the West, and they think that they're going to compete with the Golden State Warriors. And Golden State Warriors, their job just got even tougher. Flip note, LeBron James, his job just got way easier because now you have a guy that always made the Eastern Conference Finals, and basically he's going to make it his 8th appearance in the Eastern Conference Finals because his job is so much easier. Because it's kind of like you have nobody as a contender in the Eastern Conference Finals. Boston dropped the ball because they didn't get Paul George. They never got Blake Griffin. The only piece that they're linked to and they met with yesterday was Gordon Hayward from the Utah Jazz, who's currently meeting with the Utah Jazz right now. They met, or him and his representatives met with Miami on Saturday morning. So where do you think that he will end up? I honestly think he's going to end up in Miami. And if he ends up in Miami, Boston really dropped the ball. But then again, it's East, right? So did they really drop the ball? No. Like teams like Detroit, Chicago, they'll still make the playoffs because it's a lame Eastern Conference. And Melo wants out. Phil Jackson got fired. That's long overdue. Melo wants out. He purposely didn't waive his trade clause until Phil Jackson got fired, which is cool. Preferably, I would want Melo back in New York, but hey, after Steve Mills started laughing at his training routine, yeah, if I'm Melo, I'd kind of want to leave too because you're getting made fun of by your own damn GM. So yeah, if I was Melo, I'd want to leave. Yeah, teams like Milwaukee's gonna make the playoffs. They might sign Derrick Rose, you never know. Or the San Antonio Spurs might sign Derrick Rose, you never know. Chicago sucks. Miami, if they get Gordon Hayward, they will be good. And they could be a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. But if they're in the West, they probably wouldn't make the playoffs. That's how the West is stacked. Cleveland Cavaliers. Chauncey Billups just withdrew consideration. And why do you think this is? I think, personally, is he knows LeBron James is leaving. He will not opt in out of his contract next year. And rumor has it that he's going to be a Laker with Paul George. But then again, rumor also has it that I think it's a coincidence. Or no, I don't think it's a coincidence. Wade, Melo, CP3, and LeBron James, the Banana Boat brothers, all can become free agents. And these guys claim that they all want to play together because they're best friends. So 2018, it could happen. LeBron James could leave, and I'm pretty sure he will. So at the end of the day, LeBron James is not recruiting anybody. And he always recruits people just to win a championship. So I think basically this is going to be he's going to go over to the Eastern Conference. And that's just my thoughts. Now let's get over to, we talked about Boston. Let's get over to the Toronto Raptors. Now the Toronto Raptors, I think is the dumbest franchise in league history. Because you had the momentum going, and you were building a franchise with a deep roster. Now, first of all, you gave DeMar DeRozan, was it $30 million? Now, you just gave Serge Ibaka $22 million per year. Now, you just gave Kyle Lowry, injury-prone Kyle Lowry, choked in the playoffs, Kyle Lowry. You just gave him, what is it, $30 million a year? Oh, by the way, Paul Millsap got $30 million in Denver, which I think is stupid. But you just gave Kyle Lowry $30 million a year. So you got three guys that are eating up your roster. And you gave up 2 first-rounders to Phoenix just so you can sign PJ Tucker, which he bolted off to the Houston Rockets to play with his buddy CP3. You got 3 guys making, I think, $80-90 million a year. That's insane. So now they're trying to unload Valanciunas' contract, DeMar Carroll's contract, Corey Joseph contract. 3 guys that are very good role players, and you're trying to unload these guys' contracts. So where's the deepness coming from? You think you're really gonna beat the Boston Celtics? They're 15 deep, and you think you're gonna beat them with 3 guys? That's insane. I don't know what the hell Masai Ujiri is thinking. I personally think he should be fired for this. I don't like when guys get fired from their job, from their livelihoods, but if not fired, he should step down and take a lesser role and have somebody else do this, because the Toronto Raptors just got worse. And for some reason, nobody can see that in the Toronto Raptors executive team. Basically, there's no way that the Toronto Raptors will make the Eastern Conference Finals in the next 5 years. No way. Unless LeBron James leaves Cleveland, which he will. So you never know, but there is no way Toronto Raptors will win the NBA championship. Nothing. Unless you do something about these stupid contracts, because what people don't realize is what happens when all your role players get better and they want more money. Then what are you gonna do? It's insane, their way of thinking. You want $30 million a year, however, you also want to win. It just seems to me like a lot of guys are all about the money, and it's just the way the new NBA works. So at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think the last piece to fall, or not, the last big piece to fall, is Gordon Hayward, and I believe he's going to go to Miami. I think Dion Waiters, because of that, will sign with the Lakers for 1 year, and Rajon Rondo will sign with the Lakers for 1 year, because they're trying to conserve cap space, because they know that LeBron James is coming and Paul George is coming. That's all the time we have. July 3rd, JagMang podcast. Hopefully we have some more, and I will broadcast this.